Imagine you are walking down the street, distracted, when suddenly you see a word written on a wall. A word that, at that specific moment in your life, seems to have been written just for you. Maybe it's the name of someone you haven't seen in years. Or perhaps, minutes after thinking of a person you haven't spoken to in ages, your phone rings, and it's exactly that person. Or maybe you are going through a tough time, questioning the direction of your life, and then, out of nowhere, a song starts playing, and it says exactly what you needed to hear. Have you ever experienced something like this? Most people have gone through moments like these, but they have learned to dismiss them. It's just a coincidence, they say. The mind tries to rationalize, explaining everything with logic, statistics, chance. Because admitting that there is something beyond this, something that challenges control, that escapes reason, is deeply uncomfortable. But Gustav Jung did not dismiss these moments. Quite the opposite. He investigated them deeply. He observed, documented, reflected, and he came to a conclusion that still challenges the paradigms of modern science. These coincidences are not coincidences. They are synchronicities, causal connections between external events and internal states, as if the universe is responding to us, guiding us, alerting us. Jung saw these synchronicities happen repeatedly in critical moments: career changes, relationship breakups, encounters with people who would transform the course of life. He realized that the closer someone got to their inner truth, to their individuation, as he called it, the more frequent and intense these coincidences became. It was as if reality was in constant dialogue with the soul, just waiting for us to learn to listen. But there is a problem. We live in a culture that distrusts everything that cannot be measured. We are taught to trust only what can be quantified, tested, reproduced in a lab. Anything outside this model is labeled as superstition, magical thinking, delusion. So we learn to silence the most intuitive part of ourselves. We ignore the signs, the symbols, the dreams. We call chance what, deep down, carries a profound calling. This video is an invitation to reverse this process, to take off the blindfold of excessive rationality and face a frightening but liberating possibility. Life is trying to communicate with you all the time, but it doesn't shout, it whispers, and you need to learn to listen. If you have ever felt that certain coincidences were too significant to be random, if you have ever had the feeling that the universe was conspiring for something to happen, or if, at this moment, you are watching this video and thinking, why did I click here? Perhaps that is not a coincidence either. Carl Jung believed that synchronicity is one of the most mysterious and beautiful ways in which the collective unconscious, this invisible network that connects all things, manifests itself. And perhaps, just perhaps, the fact that you are here now, listening to these words, is your first step toward learning to respond when life calls. Because it is calling. And the question is, will you answer? Carl Jung was not an ordinary man. He was not satisfied with understanding the human being solely through Cartesian logic or the limits of neuroscience. Jung delved deep into territories that traditional psychology avoided: dreams, symbols, mythology, alchemy, religion, and of course, the mysteries of the unconscious. It was precisely in this dive that he encountered a phenomenon that could not be explained by the scientific models of his time: synchronicity. Unlike causality, which is the idea that every effect has a linear and predictable cause, synchronicity breaks this logic. According to Jung, there are events that happen simultaneously with internal psychic states without a causal connection between them, but whose joint occurrence carries a profound meaning for the individual experiencing them. It is as if the inner world and the outer world align momentarily to convey a message, a code, a call. Jung referred to this as a causal events laden with meaning. He was not talking about superstition or magic. He was speaking of something he observed countless times in his practice. Cases like that of the skeptical patient who, while describing a dream about a golden scarab, a symbol of transformation in Egyptian mythology, had the session interrupted by a noise at the window. Jung got up, opened the window, and there it was. A scarab, real, pushing against the glass, a rare insect in that region. The patient, impacted by the coincidence, broke through an emotional barrier and finally opened up to the therapeutic process. This, for Jung, was synchronicity in action. The science of the time, and in many ways even today, lacked the conceptual framework to absorb this type of phenomenon. The mechanistic model, inherited from the Enlightenment, is based on predictability, repetition, control. But synchronicity escapes these criteria. It is unique, symbolic, and deeply subjective. It cannot be reproduced in a laboratory, but it can transform a life, and that is why it is so frightening. Jung realized that synchronicity is more than a psychological phenomenon. It is an expression of a deeper order of reality, something that connects everything: mind, matter, time, and space. And here comes a crucial point. Inspired by his conversations with physicist Wolfgang Pauli, one of the founders of quantum mechanics, Jung began to consider that perhaps the universe is not made up solely of matter, but also of meaning. And this meaning manifests not only in what happens, but also in when and how it happens. This thought was, and still is, revolutionary, because it removes the human being from the role of passive observer of the world and places them as part of a dynamic and interconnected system, where external events can reflect internal states, and the universe can respond to the individual psyche. Jung was not proposing a new religion. He did not want people to blindly believe in synchronicities. He wanted them to observe, perceive, and feel, to let go of automatic skepticism and consider the possibility that there is a deeper intelligence operating behind the scenes of reality. And here is what bothers modern science the most: the idea that not everything can or should be explained rationally. Some experiences exist to be lived, not dissected. And that is precisely what synchronicities offer us: a direct experience with the mystery, a glimpse of something greater than ourselves, a chance to feel that life is leading us somewhere, even if we do not know exactly where. But when do these signs appear? How can we know if we are facing a synchronicity or just an ordinary coincidence? That is where things get even more interesting, because Jung realized that synchronicities intensify precisely when we are about to change course. There are moments in life when everything seems on the verge of a break. You feel a strange restlessness, as if something is about to happen. The things that once made sense start to feel empty. People disappear. Others appear out of nowhere. The job that seemed stable begins to bother you. The relationship that felt secure starts to shake. Deep down, you feel that you're being pushed out of an invisible comfort zone, even if you don't yet know where you're going. It is precisely in these moments that synchronicities begin to emerge strongly. Like flashing lanterns on a dark road, they don't tell you exactly what to do, but point out that there is something to be perceived. Jung observed that these meaningful coincidences tend to multiply during periods of transition, when a new phase of life is about to begin, when we are ready to meet someone who will change our trajectory, or when a forgotten part of ourselves is about to awaken. These transitions are often unplanned. Life rarely gives advance notice, but it signals, and that's when the signs appear, not in an obvious way, but symbolically. A book that falls from the shelf, an animal that appears repeatedly, a number that you start to see everywhere, a phrase spoken by a stranger that seems to have been taken directly from your mind. What Jung discovered, and what few truly understand, is that the collective unconscious, this deep layer of the psyche shared by all humanity, conspires with the external world to provoke our awakening. It does not operate through logic. It speaks through symbols, images, impulses, and impossible coincidences. Imagine someone who is going through a deep crisis, feeling lost. One day, for no apparent reason, they decide to enter a bookstore they have never visited. Inside, they feel an inexplicable urge to pick up a random book. Upon opening it, they come across a paragraph that describes exactly what they are feeling, as if someone had written it for them. From there, a transformation begins. Not because the book has magical power, but because something inside them was ready to listen, and the universe responded. These moments are not trivial. They are not products of chance. They are calls, silent invitations from the unconscious for you to wake up, pay attention, and reconnect with your true path. But they only work if you are willing to listen. And that is what differentiates those who change their lives from those who remain stagnant, the ability to recognize a call when it arrives. The problem is that most people are deaf to this kind of language. The rational mind, trained to doubt everything that does not fit conventional logic, dismisses these signs as irrelevant. We lose our symbolic sensitivity. We do not learn to read the world as a mirror of our soul. And when that happens, the signs keep happening, but go unnoticed. It's like receiving love letters and never opening the envelopes. But why are we like this? Why do we disconnect from this natural navigation system that is always trying to guide us? The answer lies in social conditioning. We have been taught to ignore everything that cannot be proven. We have learned to trust only in logic, reason, and control. And in doing so, we become blind and deaf to the oldest language of existence, the language of symbols, instinct, and intuition. In the next part, we will expose how this cultural conditioning has distanced us from the ability to listen to life, and why it keeps us trapped in an empty, anxious, and disconnected existence.